going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Cage Match, and this is my review for AEW Dynamite 4/2/26/2020. And you start out right away with a barn burner of a match. You have Pac versus Kenny Omega. And this match honestly took almost the first half of the show entirely. It was 40-some minutes for this whole segment to go through. So this is an Iron Man match, a 30-minute Iron Man match between Kenny Omega and Pac. And, I mean, these two are just technical professionals to the nth degree. These guys are phenomenal. Two of the best in the business, in my opinion. And they tore the house down literally this entire match. So you have about 15-20 minutes worth of really good wrestling, and then Kenny Omega gets blasted with a chair, so he wins by DQ because Pac whips him with the chair, takes the first loss so he can get the second loss, or the second win rather. And so Pac, of course, capitalizes on the beatdown he just gave Kenny Omega, gets the second win. And so Pac dominates for a lot of the rest of the match, and they actually end with Pac. He has Kenny Omega in the Brutalizer, time runs out, and so now it's a draw. They have the one win apiece, so Pac kind of screwed himself there. And so the announcement becomes it's going into sudden death overtime. First guy to a win gets the win for the whole match. Kenny Omega just immediately takes off on Pac, has some really good moves, hits the one-winged angel, gets the decisive win. And so, I mean, you were literally wowed for the first 30 minutes, 40 minutes of this show just by the merits of these two performers. And it was phenomenal. They do a Pac interview after the match, and they're asking him, how he's going to, what's his next move, after this decisive loss. And out comes Orange Cassidy, of all people, who just gets beat down by Pac. And so that leads into the announcement later in the show that it's going to be Pac and Orange Cassidy at Revolution, Orange Cassidy's first match. So that was really cool, too. An added bonus. After all of that amazement, you have Jurassic Express versus Santana Ortiz and Sammy Guevara. And this was another really good barn burner of a match. And one thing that I love about AEW tag team matches, conversely against WWE tag team matches, is there's a lot more tagging in and out, and there's a lot more of guys in the ring at the same time. There's a lot of action that just keeps going and going and going. And, they give the guys a little bit of a rest. They come in, they do something crazy, and they just keep the momentum moving. And I really love that. It's very entertaining to watch. So, after a very good match, Jurassic Express gets the win. Of course, the Inner Circle comes in, starts a beat down, to which Darby Allin, and I think this is where Dustin Rhodes comes in too. Dustin Rhodes goes after Jake Hager, and they go into the crowd, and they start just fighting into the, nether. And then Darby Allin, of course, goes right after Sammy Guevara. Doesn't really work out to his best benefit, though. Sammy Guevara cracks him with his own skateboard. And, of course, those two have a match at Revolution you expect to be very good. So everything so far is just amazing. Then you get Best Friends with Orange Cassidy. They come out with taking on Butcher, Blade. Of course, they have the bunny there. And with this match, honestly, I think the highlight, believe it or not, was Orange Cassidy and the bunny. It was a good match, don't get me wrong. I really liked the match itself. But Orange Cassidy gets in the ring while everybody's out on the ringside area. And the bunny gets in the ring at the same time, too. And so Orange Cassidy's getting ready to put his hands in his pockets. Instead, the bunny takes his sunglasses and puts them on her. So Orange Cassidy grabs the bunny ears off her and puts the bunny ears on his own head. And then, while Butcher and Blade are out at ringside at the ramp area, he decides to do a Sunasina bunny ears first. And I thought that was pretty damn funny. Good match, though. I really like Trent and Chuck. They're both definitely athletic guys. Butcher and Blade are definitely more of the bruiserweight types. Hard, heavy hitting, definitely brawlers. But they can still have a good match. At the end of the day, the Best Friends won. No problems with any of it. Then you get Yuka Sakazaki versus Big Swole versus Shayna versus Hikaru Shida. Hikaru Shida has been honestly the best part of the women's division, I think, in AEW. I really like her. She's damn talented. And she's very technically sound, and that's a big thing. So The one thing I will say about Yuka Sakazaki is when I saw her against Rio, it was a damn good match. It was a very competitive match. Here, she was acting like she was afraid of everything, like her gimmick was to just cower in the corner, which just didn't work for me. I didn't like it. But the match itself, all four women at points had their spots. They all contributed very well to the match itself. At the end of the day, Hikaru Shida won, and clearly at some point she's going to be taking on the women's champion, whoever that is at the time. So very cool. Then you get a Dark Order promo, nothing big there. Then you get a really cool interview with Nick and Matt Jackson, Kenny Omega, and Adam Page all in one sitting with Jim Ross. And this was really cool because you could tell this was all unscripted, and it was just the guys letting them be their own characters, and Jim Ross kind of leading the conversation a little bit. But it really worked, and I really liked the way they did it. The big story, of course, is Adam Page. You know, these guys are all four supposed to be friends, travel buddies, but Adam Page is kind of changing his tune, and he doesn't really want to be a part of the Elite anymore, and he's kind of separated himself, even from his tag team championship partner, Kenny Omega. And so there's definitely friction brewing there. And so it really makes me interested to see this match come Revolution. So everybody knew what to say, when to say it, you know, it just worked. I really like when they do interviews like this. I love it when they get the guys just talking, especially with Jim Ross, because he's got such a great mind for stuff like this. He knows how to lead it. So very, very good. And then you get Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho weigh-in for their match at Revolution. And honestly, a weigh-in is pointless, let's be honest. There's no point to a weigh-in in wrestling. There's no weight classes. They're both heavyweights. It doesn't matter. Who cares? But Chris Jericho, he just finds ways to make things amusing, and that's the great thing about this. AEW knows they got a couple of guys that can take anything and make it work. And that's what happened. And most of it was Chris Jericho, you know, playing with the crowd and stalling, of course. And even with Chris Jericho's matches, you know, he's getting up there in age, and he's actually still got a hell of a gas tank for somebody his age. Give him all the props in the world. But sometimes when there's downtime in a match or something, even then he finds ways to make it funny or interesting. And so, like, Chris Jericho's just damn good like that. So they kind of dance around it for a second until Jon Moxley headbutts Chris Jericho, makes him bleed. Inner Circle jump Jon Moxley, and then Jericho takes the paradigm shift to Jon Moxley on the scale that they were weighing themselves on. So I thought that was pretty damn good. And actually, I want to correct myself because this was the part where it all broke down. This was the part where Dustin Rhodes came down, him and Jake Hager took off into the crowd. This is where Darby Allin came back out. Him and Sammy Guevara got at it, and Sammy Guevara broke the skateboard over him. And Inner Circle was just standing tall at the end of the match. Or at the end of the show, rather. And so it was a very, very, very good Dynamite, honestly. Like I said, almost the entire first half of the show was Pac and Kenny Omega, and that was mind-blowing. It was just a damn good match. That it was a pay-per-view match anywhere. Anywhere. And it was on their regular Wednesday show. So, 10 out of 10. Absolutely loved it. All the matches had some really good stuff to them. The interview with Young Bucks, Omega, and Page was really good. I like the ending, too. They're building up toward every match on the pay-per-view. Loved it. So, ladies and gentlemen, 10 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments below if you enjoyed this. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, Cage Nation. Out.